Welcome in everyone to Barely Educated episode 114, I think.
114.
Yeah, we're here to talk about the Bucks' big win over the Vikings. Just like we all have been saying, everyone nationally has been saying it. The Vikings are not going to be undefeated in close games, and they already lost one. No, I wish that's what we were doing. In fact, that's the Bears' next opponent. That'll be interesting. Instead, we're here to recap the debacle that was the ninth straight loss to the formidable Green Bay Packers and their next Hall of Fame quarterback who didn't have to do anything and still somehow threw three touchdowns. No, you know what,
Yeah.
Chris? I don't want to talk about the Packers. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't.
Sounds
I know
good.
a lot of people are going to be upset that it was Green Bay. No, guys. I mean, we're going to have to talk about them, obviously. The difference here is they're an organization that knows what it's doing as a football organization, and the Bears are not.
Correct.
Ryan
Uh,
Poles has done some okay things. I'm not ready to punt him out just yet or anything like that, but they've been good for 35 years, and the Bears, especially the point here, have been horrible for the better part of 35 years because the Bears owners suck at football, even though football is the only thing they do.
well, I'm going to take a little umbrage. I think the Packers owners suck as well, since they're a publicly
Fans,
owned. Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
The people running the Packers are smarter than the people
Yeah,
who have been running the Bears.
yeah, yep.
And this game to me starts, or trying to analyze it, starts with the coaching. That was abysmal
Outcoached at
on
every level.
every side of the ball and special teams. They gave a bunch of big returns. That wasn't really getting much chatter, but they stunk at everything today.
Mm.
And when the game plan is dink and dunk, and then hey, throw it down the field when we're down 21, of course there's going to be an interception. You haven't been
Yeah,
doing any of that.
yeah.
What was the game plan was so bad, both
Let me
sides of the ball. It's unspeakable.
address that right away. I don't care about that interception pick six. I don't
It
care.
was a terrible
The
play. He stared him down. He didn't see, like, that was
the
dreadful. That
game
was all the bad stuff about him that we're worried about, but the context of the game kind of
means nothing.
excuses it.
Yeah, I don't care about it. It the game was already gone by then.
Pretty
He was
much.
just trying to make something happen. You know what this looked like? This looked like a team that didn't play in the preseason. That's
Well,
one
that's
thing,
true
you know.
too. That's true too. But there's a lot of teams that do that. And we could get out of the way. Yeah, week
Well,
one
like
weirdness.
we
Yeah.
can't.
The Bengals scored 3 points, and the Bears beat the Niners last year in week one
Yeah,
weirdness. Yep, the Bears have lost 11 games in a row to everyone. I don't need to learn how to win. I don't care about that. But I care that the coaches absolutely stink at their job. I'm tired of like dancing around it. They get out coached every week. Luke Getzey turtles up inside the 30. He did it again the first drive.
so
What's
why
the consequence?
is he worried about his quarterback?
Are they saying we can't block? Why is the average depth of target, as cousin Nate
Because I mean, it's hard to be silly
tweeted
today.
me, 3.7 yards with Justin Fields' arm? Because you don't think you can block? You don't trust the QB? You think that's the best game plan? I don't know. But I know more than anything, what we have here is another outcome of bad organizational process. And I will beat this dead horse until it's just a pile of mush. Because you hired the GM and then gave him a short list of coaches and made him make the hire like not even 24 hours later. And you get defensive Mark Trestman for your trouble. Guys, we're gonna do the hits principle. Remember when Trestman came in talking leadership and Brad and Lance Briggs was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go open my barbecue restaurant. See you in September."
Mm-hmm.
Adults on NFL teams don't care about your try hard speech.
Yeah.
Culture reset, that doesn't even mean anything. No one can define it. He's not good enough schematically to be a head coach.
No.
Trestman wasn't, and I don't know if he's a good enough leader. I know he's a nice guy. He handles the media well. He's probably like the best coach in the league to go get lunch with and feel like you're not talking to a total goofball because the coaches are kind of all insane. But schematically, terrible. Old,
Yeah.
outdated 2006 style cover two, terrible. Brings in Getzey, he's been terrible. Like, quit pretending. It was bad process, and it now looks like a bad hire. And I think we are 3 games away from it being a serious talking point, launching the coaching staff. If
Mm.
they lose to all 4 teams, which is totally imminently reasonable, the record for the coaching staff will be 3-17. The record for Fields will be 5-25.
Wow.
So if people are panicking on one, maybe we should be thinking about the other. And I think it's probably unfair to Justin on a certain level, but he
It
doesn't look like
is.
the guy right now because he can't manage a pocket.
Again, it's hard to tell because I think the first play out of the second half really demonstrated it was a play action bootleg to the far side. And as soon as he turns around, there's a defender right there. So
Yeah,
like
they still can't block.
it's still hard for me to know, okay, how much of this is he just can't do it, and how much of it
Yeah.
is he doesn't have time to do it.
It's
We still don't
I'm
know.
I'm way more down on the coaching than I am Fields.
Same, agreed.
And record is a sort of dumb stat for QBs because it's a team
Mm-hmm.
game.
Mm-hmm.
But the coach is in charge of the team, so feel like it's fair to talk about it with the coaches. Now they were in a clear rebuild last year, so we should make sure we are fair in that. But my point isn't even so much the record, it's how they look, the effort that we're supposed to be talking about with the hits principle. Go ahead and throw an S on the front of that word. That's what the principle is. The whole smart thing, they don't play smart. They're dumb as a box of rocks, Chris. They had 4 penalties for 30 yards in the first quarter. It killed 2 drives. They're bad at the thing that they were hired to do, and I still question the thing that they were hired to do's value in the first place.
Which is what exactly? What were they?
Exactly. Hired to install a principle that makes NFL grown-ups eye roll, I'm sure, at least some of them.
Yeah.
But I don't even beyond that, they just don't do anything schematically to make football look like the rest of the league.
Yeah.
Like rush 4, play soft zone.
And when you don't have anyone that can rush the passer, if you're going to play cover two, you've got to have a couple
Yes.
beasts up front. You need a defensive tackle like Warren Sapp, Tommy Harris, that's going to blow up the middle of the line.
Mm-hmm.
And you need a good edge rusher, and they don't have
Yeah,
either. I mean,
they don't.
Ngakwe had a nice hit and sack, I guess, but
I mean,
it wasn't
they
consistent pressure.
the all the like stuff we talked about going in, worst fears came true. Like dominated on both lines, and that was the game. Right. The Packers scored 31 offensive points with just Aaron Jones. Right, like really, like as far as proven NFL players. Now some of the young
Yeah.
guys maybe have a lot of potential. Dobbs certainly looks like a keeper possession receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But Jordan Love has this like all-time stat game debut for his real season.
Yeah.
And you're like, you didn't even have to do anything
Nope. Yep.
because the scheme the Bears run is so bad.
And people are going to make a big deal out of Jordan Love's stat line from today. And
That's fine. Go celebrate, Packers, but be aware of the fool's gold because
yeah,
you were playing a defense and scheme that bad. Give
yeah,
it a month or so
yeah.
because you're going to need to play a better team to have a
Mm-hmm.
better idea. There's your
Yeah.
warning. But
Against the
for the
better
Bears,
team.
the point should be, why did we hire this guy to develop Justin Fields? What is that process? It's stupid. It's just so stupid.
And
Now
why
they're going to have to reset the whole thing again in all likelihood, unless they miraculously turn it around. That's where this is headed. It's a tough truth, but it would be a miracle for Fields to all of a sudden look like a really good NFL passer. I hope he gets there, but by now it's usually figured out. I'm telling you that the odds are bleak. And if you keep the coach and draft a QB, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna quit the podcast because I won't be able to take how dumb it is to do this again.
Wow.
You are writing a master class. Go ahead and sign up for it, everyone. The where the scholar comes in and it's like an online thing. It's a master class on how to ruin a quarterback. Draft him, sign Andy Dalton. Don't give him any of the reps in camp. Play him week 3 against a great defensive line with your trash tier offensive line. How many years running is that the case now, by the way? Can we wake up and prioritize
Four,
that
five,
ever?
six. Yeah.
Okay, so then he gets destroyed, 9 sacks, shell shocked mostly the rest of the next 6 weeks or whatever. Has a few good games here and there. Gets
Did you say
screwed out of a win.
9 sacks?
Yeah, against the Browns, that first game for
Oh,
Fields.
I thought you meant today.
Okay.
Okay, but yeah.
Then, so that all starts with keeping them as lame ducks, by the way. Then you finally fire them and you hire a defensive head coach because he's going to reverse engineer help the quarterback develop. I've literally never heard of another team using that logic. He's going to help him read the defense because he knows defense.
Well, I mean,
him show me he knows defense with his own defense.
that's the Bill Belichick argument. I'm not saying that's a sound argument, but I mean, That one did work out okay.
Well, okay, so there's the one time is like the all-time example.
Yes, exactly.
Seems an anomaly. Okay, then you tank on
Uh,
purpose with the worst wide receiver core anybody's ever seen in their lives, and a terrible O line still. Have the worst record in the league. Luck into the number one pick, so at least the tank works. Trade for DJ Moore. Target him twice, three if you count the
twice.
two-point conversion.
And he caught
Twice.
it too. He caught that 2-point conversion. But
You
yeah,
do none of his strengths in this game. One designed run. It was a dumb draw,
that's
and no shots down the field, which were his strengths coming in. What are the coaches doing, Chris? This is not about Fields. It's about how the Bears organization continues to be hapless at the top. And I'll be stunned if these coaches are like all of a sudden good and turn it around in a couple years. We're talking about a 12-win season.
yeah.
They're way likely to be fired week 8 than they are to win 12 games in a year or two.
Let me try to balance it out a little bit with, and Greg Olson pointed this out. Greg Olson was great today as
He's
usual.
always great.
But he stressed the importance of not overreacting to one game. And I think there's wisdom in that. I think it's okay to react to things that seem to be problems that have carried over from
That's what I'm
last
doing.
year.
They've stunk at all of this for 18 games.
Right, but I'm saying we can't write off the whole rest of the season because of one
Oh no,
because of
not
today.
yet.
That's what
But
I'm saying.
you got to be realistic here. They did
Mm-hmm.
not get beat by a good offense.
Right.
Green Bay's front is good. Like the defense is going to eat the Bears O line for lunch if this is the Bears O line.
And
But
that
you
running
gave up
back's pretty good.
31 points to Aaron Jones, who also tweaked a hamstring at the end and wasn't even in for last touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the scheme is horrible. They haven't shown any ability to adjust. They just rush four soft zone. And by the way, they can't pass a guy off in that zone.
No, no,
It's
they
crazy. They're
cannot.
really bad at running that bad scheme. It's crazy to me that was the let's hire that. That's not the way the league is. Come on, man. This is so dumb.
So let me ask you. I texted you this. I think that did George hire Eberflus because he runs cover two, and the last time the Bears were good, it's when they ran the cover two. So if we bring back the cover two, then we're going to be good again, just like we were when we ran the cover two.
They're definitely dumb enough to think that way.
That's what. Otherwise, why do that? Like you said, people, the other teams have moved on from that as a base defense. At least maybe you run it once in a while, but not as
They're
your
in it
base.
so they're in the rush four soft zones so much. They don't fool anybody. Jordan
Yeah.
Love was not fooled at all, ever.
Nope. Nope.
And he had a couple throws that were terrible. And if they were better, they would have scored even
Yes.
more. Like,
He
I'm
had some
sorry,
really
they
bad
some bad
throws.
overthrows. It's like,
That's what I'm
okay.
saying. Like Packer fans, pump the brakes on anointing him as the third.
Enjoy beating down the Bears
Mhm.
again. Do you guys even get any enjoyment out of that? I mean, are you enjoying my rant, the one Packer fan who bothers to listen? Because like
I think they
I
do.
I feel
Yeah.
like at some point it's just too easy.
Yeah.
We're just too easy to beat. This team does not play NFL football still on a consistent basis. Cousin Nate with the tweet I want to read or a text.
Yeah.
Plenty of concern for Fields and what we're not seeing, but that's a hold on, we might have to fire these guys kind of game from Getsy and Flus. The idiots on the Score Morning Show have dubbed this season the No Excuse Tour for Fields. It might be the what exactly is it you do here tour for the coaches.
That's more accurate.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying is if you're going to reset at quarterback, you had better reset at coach.
Hmm.
And I do think Poles will get another coach hire since they
I
basically
think so
forced
too.
this one on him.
Yeah. So
But
you're
that's where this heads right now. They could flip it. I'm just saying I'm not optimistic about it because that wasn't like, oh man, the Packers beat us again by 3.
so you're pretty
They
confident
got
about.
annihilated.
They did. Yeah.
They got annihilated. And I'm just not gonna lie about it.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm overreacting, but I haven't seen a thing in game on a Sunday from these coaches except for the Patriots game
Yeah.
to think, okay, they're good coaches. And I'm sorry, I didn't see a lot of effort. Are we already eye
Oh my
rolling the hits
gosh.
thing? It's a real question.
No, no,
If
that's a
we're gonna
good
question
question.
Fields, we have to do the coaches.
If you look at Claypool, it looks like it. He did not look interested in being on the
Dude, you might
field.
as well play ESB. You said that during the game.
Yep, I did. If you're gonna expect wide receivers to block, why is the best blocking wide receiver not out there?
And I'm sorry, exposing your second best wide receiver to getting absolutely obliterated down
Ugh.
31 with a minute to go.
That's what I've
You
always
guys
been
are
scared of.
morons. Or
I've
2018 or whatever they were down as 18. You guys are morons.
I've always
That
been
was
afraid about
reckless
that
and
with Mooney.
stupid.
Yep. Yep.
We got to win every rep. No, be smarter than that. You've lost this game, and therefore the rest of these reps are silly. Don't get anybody hurt. Are you kidding me? Dude, if he misses a game because of that hit, I'd fire them
Yeah.
all right then. They wouldn't even make it to Monday with me if he's hurt, because that's just a reckless use of our team resource. Now that's not what's going to happen, but I'm saying if they're 0-4, there will be more people than just me wondering what the heck the coaches do here.
You're not the only one wondering that now. I
No,
think,
it was because again, this is the outcome of a terrible process.
yeah, the low hanging fruit is going to be, oh, Fields, he sucks. We got to put in Bajent. That'll start this week, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, Bob
The
is going to
cries for
call in
touch.
tomorrow. There's a Bob already like with the score on speed dial, just waiting for 7 a.m.
Got to see this Bajent. Yeah. So, is there anything positive you would take out of this game?
If it counts, were they playing enough of the grid players at that point still? I'd have to go back. Roshan Johnson.
That's number one for
RB1
me.
next week.
Has to be. Has to be.
Herbert is awesome in spurts on the outside zone. Why were we running up the middle at Kenny
I
Clark so
don't
much?
know.
There's so much, Chris. That's why I can't just pretend it's like one
It's
week.
that
There
we
was
that we did see in the
so much
preseason too.
dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, whoops. Well, okay, I see what they were trying there. Like it was just like, holy crap, what was the plan here on both sides of the ball? And Foreman had an okay game, but like, I mean, the bar is
He's
low.
okay. He's okay. Yeah. Too
And
many too many horizontal passes to him, but even just in general, too much like try to get it horizontal. No
yeah, what
deep
was
there, and maybe they don't think there's time to open up deep routes, but
the
there was a
only the only thing that will get me to pause and try to dial it back on Getsy is if he was calling downfield stuff and Justin just wouldn't do it,
well, we need to know that. Maybe we'll see
which would
that with
be worse in a different way. And I guess we will find out when the O'Sullivans and Jenkins of the world get their all 22 and post their clips. Jenkins had a tweet though. He's like really optimistic. He would never go this hard on coaches as I am. Right? He's a professional and I'm a
yeah.
total amateur. Right? But he was like, this scheme is a travesty or whatever his tweet was.
Mm-hmm.
He was not happy. Here, I'm going to read it real quick. I found
Okay.
it.
Sure.
Here's my take from covering Chicago last year. Chicago is too good a football city to be dealing with this level of incompetence from an offensive innovation perspective. Terrible, terrible stuff to start the year, man. And I know he'll have a video by, I bet, Tuesday or Wednesday, breaking it down. He'll go on Bernsey and Holmes, and maybe there'll be a few throws that Justin should have pulled the trigger on. But Justin is not the big concern coming out of this game. He
No.
is a concern. I would even say it's a concern that is growing because there was definitely not progress, but he was not the problem.
Nope. Nope. And it to me, tell me what you think of this. Did it seem like the coaches were trying so hard just not to lose to the Packers instead of
Well, that's the
just
other
playing
problem with
so
them.
conservative? Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought it up because I mentioned it in passing, really, but the turtling up thing. And they're just so risk adverse. That just doesn't work in this league anymore. It just doesn't. They don't fool anybody. What was the game plan offensively? Throw it to the
Uh
halfback and wide receiver screens?
that's what it like, and run up the middle on first down. That seemed like the
Because we were terrified of their pass rush? Well, then you got
what
to do something different with the O line once they're falling apart. Like they just kept playing everybody. Also, Braxton Jones, holy crap, guy. Horrible game.
yeah, he did not
False start at
take
least
that leap
once, two
twice.
holding,
Mm-hmm.
got pantsed a couple times in the pass rush.
Yeah.
Everybody's just counting that this guy's like going to take the leap, and maybe he still will. But the Bears didn't give you any reason to be optimistic. If you're optimistic coming out of it, the only thing you've got is I just happen to be optimistic, or it's week one. But you're asking a lot,
Could
thinking
you
that they're not going to be pretty darn bad coming out of that game.
could you come out of that game saying, okay, let's just put the rookie tackles in, rookie defensive tackles in, because they can't be worse than what our veterans showed us today.
Unless you've got a good reason coming from people with more experience at the position to say it'll hurt their development or something. Yeah, those guys were terrible. The starters.
Yeah.
You still bargain shop on both lines. Nate Davis was bad too. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe because he doesn't practice.
Yeah. Yep.
I can understand not playing preseason games that much because I don't want people getting hurt. I agree. That's why I'm annoyed, at the end of the game that they're in, right? It's ultimately meaningless, just like the preseason at that point. But they did look like a team that didn't really do much in August. And I remember being
Mhm.
worried about that because half the team was on the injury report all the time. And it was just like, oh, they're going to come out fired up. Why? They didn't.
No.
Like, I don't know what to say, guys. It was a dreadful performance everywhere, and I don't see how you can't put that on the coaches way before you put it on the QB.
Yeah, you had the Bears had pulled within 10 at the end of the third, and you're like, all right, here we go. We got a ball game here. I'm trying to remember the exact sequence, but it was 3rd and 3, and then there was a false start, which made it 3rd and 8. And
And then
then
they hit the Aaron Jones pass, right?
no, I
On,
think he
T
was
on
out
TJ
by then.
Edwards, or was that was our this drive before? Was this the stupid tight end falls over play that they almost scored a
No,
touchdown
no, but
on?
that was the next play after they got the first down. They
Yes,
converted
okay. It
the.
was that
It was
drive.
third and
Gotcha.
eight. They convert the first down on again a
Hmm.
wide like Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson had a horrible,
There are so
horrible
many
game.
guys that matter a
He's
lot. Brisker had a horrible game.
yes, both same,
Kyler
but
Gordon got hurt, by the way.
oh,
Had a
well,
nice pass breakup, but then he got
it's
hurt.
it seemed like every time there was a breakdown in coverage, Eddie Jackson was involved. At least the stuff that I saw. But on this play in particular, I know that Eddie did not go where he was supposed to go. And then yeah, then Love drops the ball. It bounces right back to him. Their rookie tight end somehow is wide open, and he almost drops it because he's running backwards in cement shoes. Yeah, and that was really what pushed the game out of reach. And then Fields threw the pick six on their next drive. So by then
And that was
it's
over.
over. It's over by then. Yeah, but
Which is
the game
part
was
him
over by
forcing
then
it, but
anyway.
he still can't stare down the guy that long. Like
Right?
it's
Yeah.
not developing the reading the defense, climbing the pocket. That stuff is it was not on tape today. And
Hmm.
for him to get there, it's starting to seem more and more unrealistic. And if he doesn't get there, he's not the quarterback next year
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they have two firsts, and that's the only silver lining in any of this.
But who else is? Well, I don't know anything about.
There's a
That.
billion good college quarterbacks. People are talking about this being like the most ever taken in the first round.
Well,
So I'm telling you, they're not going to resist that if he keeps playing like this. Though I think most of this was the coaches setting him up to fail.
right. That's what I mean. Are you going to have
And,
Getsy and
and it
uh,
kills me because he's such a good dude. Like I love the
yeah.
person.
Hmm.
I love that he's like flying in that kid with leukemia to watch the Chiefs Bears.
Yeah.
Questionable choice of game, but super awesome gesture.
I don't think that they're gonna.
He's apologized in the press conference. He just apologized.
Fields did.
I want to say sorry to the teammates and all the fans that are rooting for us. We will bounce back. We will be good.
Yeah, he's a stand-up guy.
You know
I
he
believe
takes it
that.
too hard.
Hmm.
This one hurts. Not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I don't think they move on from Fields if this continues unless he gets worse. He's gonna have to get worse, I think, for me to think that. I think there's still other holes they've got to plug, like left tackle, like
No,
edge
there's
rusher.
definitely huge
You know,
problems for sure. I just
and
think they're gonna not pass up the chance with two first.
but what if
If
you
this
can
is what
get?
we get.
But what if you can get an edge rusher and a left tackle?
You don't if you don't know if you have the quarterback, you're picking the quarterback. I'm sorry. They're gonna pick the quarterback if it's still 200 yards, a touchdown and a pick and 50 yards rushing and another loss and
And
another
then
loss and
and then the same
a
thing
pick
happens.
six. Probably, but hopefully you reset
Whole
the
same thing
regime
happens. Well, okay, if that happens,
and you can still get your
then I'll
tackle
have
because
that
you got two
conversation.
picks. See, that's the point. But you got to fire the coaches. You cannot replace the QB and not the coaches. That's
Well,
all I'm getting at right now. And I
that's
don't
what
want to
I'm
replace
saying.
the QB in general.
That's what I'm saying is that if you're gonna have Eberflus and Getsy draft for the next
Nope.
quarterback, I don't see
Nope.
that happening. You'd have to
Nope.
fire them for polls to
Yep.
draft. If they don't fire Eberflus and Getsy, if things continue, then I don't think they're drafting the quarterback. That's what I'm saying.
Or they're just doing it again, just like they did with
Right.
Mitch
That's what
and
I said.
Fox, and
Yeah.
just like they did with Nagy and Fields, which is why I'm saying if you're going to reset the QB, you better fire the coaches.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're on the same page. Okay,
And if you're going to draft the QB, just bring his coach with him. Let's just screw it. Draft Caleb Williams. All right, come along, whatever your name is, Riley.
Wow, what if they are good? What if they are the number one pick? But I
Okay,
don't think they
ask you
are. I'm
this:
not
Who
going to
played a
overreact to one
worse?
game.
Yeah, who played a? It's week one, so fine. But just for kicks, who played a worse complete football game than the Bears?
Bengals.
Maybe the Bengals. 24-3 is pretty bad. 38 though. Oof.
You
20 with
just
at least one
Joe
garbage time. The
Burrow.
Bengals were Burrow was horrible. That was,
Joe
and he just
Burrow
signed the
just
record deal.
became the highest paid quarterback ever,
Yeah,
and
well, he
had
looked like a
that
guy who
game.
missed August with an injury.
But
As good as he
yeah,
is, he hadn't played, and it showed.
US2 was
Houston
worse.
25-9. Houston
Now that's
25-9. Okay, but
rookie
Stroud,
quarterback
Stroud
there. Yeah.
28 of 44 for 244. I don't think he had a turnover.
That's
They
pretty
played a
good.
better team
But
and they
nine
played a better
points.
game than the Bears total.
Mhm.
They hung in there for a while too. Indy hung in there. Tampa stole a win. Okay, sorry, former student Tim. Steelers played a pretty bad game. They also played a juggernaut. I don't think the Packers are that good, and the Bears
No,
looked awful. I'm telling you
they're not.
right now, they are still in the conversation for worst team in the league with through one game, which means nothing except for you are already the worst team in the league coming into the season. And I'm sorry, but signing a bunch of linebackers didn't do a thing for you on the field.
Not today. It did.
That's why I didn't want to sign a bunch of linebackers. I wanted to sign edge and tackles and left tackles and centers.
Yeah,
Would
you
have
can
been nice
see.
to have someone who could block on the left side today.
Yes, it would. You can see Eberflus's fingerprints on the linebackers. They're better than they were last year, but
But that
yeah.
just doesn't matter. They're not an important enough position right now.
Mhm.
They have to have like interceptions and forced fumbles and all these things that are somewhat chance.
Yeah,
This is what
but
I mean by process. You can always control how good a pass rush is if you have good pass rushers because you can move them around and they can go after it every play. They have a chance to impact every play. The linebacker makes an impact when the other team screws up.
I'm with
The
you.
edge rusher makes them screw up.
I wanted them to build lines first. I'm with you there.
Yep.
I'm absolutely with you there. That's how you build a championship team. That's how the Cowboys dynasty did it, right? That's
And
how
when
the
did they
Bears
become
did it
the
back
real
in the day.
dynasty? When they did the whole Charles Haley trade.
Say that again. What?
That of course they were awesome on the O line. The Cowboys pushed over the top when they did the Charles Haley trade.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So
So
all right,
I'm all for you got to build in the trenches and build out.
yep.
I'm all
I
for
do
that.
think
They haven't
Edmonds is
done
still
that.
a solid sign, and there's so much youth and potential upside there
Yeah.
that I'm not
Dude's
against that.
big.
But
That dude is
he had an
big
all
too.
right
You
game.
see
He
him in
wasn't.
the he was
Edwards
fine.
got toasted on that touchdown,
Can
but
you
I
be
didn't.
more
I didn't notice
specific?
Edmonds. Well, the one true. The one where he's like a step behind Jones the whole way for like
Mm,
49 yards, or one when Jones
uh,
came up limping.
oh, the touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Aaron
Okay.
Jones was the best
That
player on the
touchdown.
field today
He was. He
when they
was.
had the ball. At least I don't know. Maybe it was one of their linemen too, because I think
Often,
I'm guessing Eldon Jenkins had a day too,
how often is a running back the best player on the field these days in this
and they
NFL?
dominate the game. It's just Bears. All right, I'm tired of ranting. I'm giving myself a headache.
All right.
I'm not, but I don't have much to say. There's nothing hardly good to point out.
It
But
was,
I got to ask again, why did DJ Moore have 2 targets? He caught 2 in a row and then didn't get any. The rest of the way. And the
it's
touchdown to Mooney was a beautiful ball. The arm is
beautiful.
there. The arm is there, middle. 15 to 20 is the sweet spot, and he's got a good deep ball. Why are we making him throw short? It felt like they were
That's
determined to prove to everyone they could do it, and they failed colossally.
that I along those lines. I thought that okay, we got to see we want to see if Fields improved his short game, so we're gonna do a lot of short game, and our line sucks, so we have to make sure we get the ball out quick. But you
That
can't.
part I can understand, but there's other
In
ways to keep a
theory,
line
yes,
honest.
yes, you can do quick vertical routes.
You can
That
still throw a
first
slant.
that was the first play that Moore caught, was that beautiful slant that got him inside the red or close to the red zone.
Chris, I just want the Bears to look like they know what they're doing. I want them to play the same sport when they have the ball that the other good teams play. Instead, they play the same sport as the Commanders and the Cardinals. They do. They're not playing what the Dolphins and Chiefs and Bills and Eagles are playing.
So is 8 wins too optimistic?
At this point, yes.
After today, yes.
I
That's
went
why
back through the schedule. I did in my totally level-headed moment. I was like, "Oh, Bucks, you got the Bears beating the Bucks now?"
I
They
do
could.
think that this week is going to be the worst game of the season. I do. There was a psychological
That's
component
possible.
to
That is
this
very much
game.
possible.
Everyone talked about it too. Even like the score guy. Like
I was very concerned
Parkins.
about this game. I had a terrible feeling
Yes.
about it.
Like why does it
Turned
have
out
to be?
correct.
Why does it have to be Green Bay week 1? Because there is such a psychological component. It affects all of the fans. No reason to think it hasn't affected the players too. So maybe
They
it's
are
good.
human.
That, maybe it just went as bad as it did,
You
and they
could
got it out of their
claim
system. I don't.
they need a road game after
Maybe.
that too.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
Is
the
it?
Bucks game like a win. Now it's like a maybe. That's my point. What about the Broncos? That's another maybe now that you think is a win
Do you
initially.
do you think Baker Mayfield is that though? I mean, yeah,
Dude,
he
I
played
don't
well
know.
today,
Do
but
you think Jordan Love is a 130 rating QB?
no,
Do you think Jordan Love is throwing to guys as good as Godwin and Mike Evans?
no.
Do you think the Bears zone will stop those guys if it couldn't stop checks notes, Romeo Dobbs and Jaden Green? It's probably not even his name. And that other guy, Turian something?
That's why I'm bringing up the
There
psychological
are ways
angle.
to worry about every game on the
Yeah.
schedule.
Oh, sure, sure.
So now you'd have to be like, wow. If they had lost by a field goal, I'd say, sure, they could still win 8. It's how they lost.
It's how they lost. It's who they lost to, and it's when they lost to that team, and how.
And
It's
we haven't
the
even mentioned the whole, it was supposed to be the turning of the page. No, it's not going to be the turning of
no.
the page until you have competent people at the top. And I don't know that we
No.
do yet. Maybe
Lawrence Lawrence Holmes tweeted it was the worst case scenario lost today, and I think
it was. We all thought QB was the thing. No, the difference between these organizations is at the top, and the QB was the personification of it for years, and obviously huge because 2 Hall of
Mhm.
Famers is ridiculous. But I don't think this game is that big of a tell for Jordan Love. It's
Agreed.
a tell for
Yep.
how much better the Green Bay coaches and systems are, how much
Mhm.
better they scout overall,
Mhm.
these kinds of things. That's the difference. It's the same difference that we had for years with the Cardinals and Cubs that the Cubs have closed the gap on in the last 7 or 8 years.
Mhm. Because they went out and hired the best guy to rebuild the whole thing.
Yep.
All right,
Take us away.
I'll take us away. We'll talk again Friday about the Bucks, and I'm sure we'll both be more level-headed. I'll be a
I'm
little
not
more.
convinced that this was just me being not level headed. They were that bad.
No, 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 no. What I mean in terms of like you're ready to blow it up now.
No, I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if they're 0 and 4 if it's a real conversation from people
Oh,
who
I got
know
you.
more than a couple fans.
I got you. Okay, that makes sense.
They were that bad that they've
Yeah,
now put it in the back of the brain, and if they're 0 and 4, it'll be in the front of the brain.
yeah. All right. I'm just gonna flush this game out of my system. Sorry we couldn't
Good
get the
call.
live stream to work. I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
what was going
forgot
on
to mention
there.
it.
But this will be up on YouTube and Spotify later. I'll see if I can just upload a recorded video onto Twitch as well. Maybe that'll work. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Didn't get much worse than today, so it can only go up, right?
Could
Maybe.
be.
We'll see. Maybe it could get worse.